Pokémon Chronicles, a spin-off of the original anime series that is probably one of the coolest things we've ever gotten. I talked about this series in a few videos before, but I want to start looking back on some of the episodes a little more frequently. The premise of the series is basically a whole season without Ash Ketchum. Instead, we focus on other characters in the same universe, whether they be characters we met before or brand new ones like in the Legend of Thunder TV movie, which serves as the first 3 episodes. It's a fun series and has great moments. So what better way to start things off than with the official first 2 episodes after the Legend of Thunder, which follow Brock and Misty right after they parted ways with Ash and Pikachu in the final episode of the Johto series. So first of all, in the episode, A Family That Battles Together Stays Together, we catch up with Brock as he makes his way back to Pewter City. On the outskirts, he runs into his dad, who tries to warn him of how disastrous things have gotten since he's been away, though he doesn't believe it at first. Maybe his dad was over-exaggerating, but Brock is definitely surprised to see all the changes his mother has made to the gym in the time since. There's a hedge outside, and everything else is painted pink. So they head home and catch up with the rest of the family, and dang, I forgot just how many kids they had. Like, geez, they need to slow down. Dude, why has the mom got the 90s soda cup artwork on the wall? Anyway, they all gather up and get back to the gym, and Brock is tipped over the edge upon discovering that there's even a lake inside the gym now, and a bunch of water Pokemon are hanging out too. I think this was a good idea to center an episode around Brock and his family. While they don't all get the time for character development, his parents mostly steal the show, and there's a nice setup with one of the brothers at the end, though it's nice seeing Clint and Lola have this episode together, mending their relationship a bit. But that starts out with a one-on-one battle to decide the fate of the gym. Of course, because there's already a large body of water set up inside it, Meryl absolutely styles on Golem and is ultimately declared victorious when the rock type falls into the water and sinks to the bottom. So at the moment, not much progress is made. Back at the house, they all gather for dinner, and one of the younger siblings is singled out for the purpose of the story, with it being noted that Brock sees him as following in his own footsteps, though specifically with how he's always thinking about girls. But I'm also a fan of how we can finally have a family all together for a moment, even if everyone isn't exactly on the best terms. Sure, Clint and Lola are able to make up after their sparks are reignited from their battle and now they're all lovey-dovey again, but Brock isn't happy with how things are going at the gym, even after his parents decide that it'll just be a dual-type gym from this moment on, which as a fan sounds like a cool idea, though the main reason Brock isn't happy is because he feels his mother shouldn't change things so much after being gone for so long. Forrest, the younger brother from before, runs off and Brock follows him, giving a bit of brotherly advice and encouragement with how he wants to become the gym leader someday. We've already seen Brock take an older sibling type of role throughout the series, but it is pretty nice to see him acting the same way, if not more so, to his actual siblings. Also, it's pretty obvious that they decided to make Forrest so much like Brock so that the audience will be assured of the gym leader in Brock's absence as he pursues becoming a Pokemon breeder and later a doctor. I also like how they talk about rock Pokemon in this episode. Forrest says something along the lines of how he'll never be able to beat water Pokemon, and Brock isn't having any of that, vowing to show him their true strength. So the next day we get the final battle for the fate of a Pewter City gym between mother and son. Brock brings out Onix, which is a bit of a surprise given that there's almost no room with the lake inside the building, but I think it's pretty cool to see a signature Pokemon again. Lola brings out her Mantine, and that's a neat way of showing how she's traveled around so much, owning a water Pokemon that isn't even native to Kanto. Right off the bat, Brock has Onix dig straight down and all the water starts draining from the lake, totally something he learned to do after traveling around with Ash for so long. In fact, throughout the whole episode, his mentality of rock Pokemon being able to beat water types was inspired by how Ash defeated him with Pikachu before, learning that rock isn't meant to be rigid, it's meant to be strong. Anyway, Mantine is still able to battle because it's also a flying type, but it no longer has the main advantage it once did, so Onix and Brock are the winners at the end. It is a pretty cool battle and I enjoyed it, and now we get everything wrapped up nicely with the gym reverting back to focusing on rock types, the family being united and on good terms, Forrest being inspired to pursue becoming the gym leader someday, Onix staying behind at the gym to become the family Pokemon, and Brock getting a new outfit to head off toward the Hoenn region. I'm really a fan of how we have these extra little episodes to focus on these characters, even though Brock would return into the main cast later in the series. I think it was important to have the characters we know return home for a moment to take everything they've learned on their journey and apply it to their family.
Pokémon Chronicles will return in a moment on Toonami.
Get him, Sparky!
Pokémon Chronicles now continues on Toonami.
In the next episode, Cerulean Blues, we find Misty as she's en route to Cerulean City. Hearing about an inspection agency shutting down gyms, she hurries back home where she'll be taken over while her sisters are traveling, though not far behind are these bozos from a few episodes ago. Misty arrives at the gym where Gyarados is in the middle of a rampage and a group of fan club members are having trouble getting it under control, and I think it's a great idea to really allow her to grow as a water-type trainer, attempting to control one of the most difficult Pokemon there is. Also, they can't just recall it to the Pokeball with how it's acting, so it'll require a lot of work to solve this problem. There's also a Nurse Joy hanging around for the episode, and she's a great addition as someone who can give a bit of encouragement and advice to Misty, but ultimately everything is up to her. Though we also learn a bit of backstory, as Misty is normally great with water Pokemon, but has never been able to connect with Gyarados ever since she had a traumatic experience as a baby with a different Gyarados, getting stuck inside the mouth for a bit. And I think this is a great idea with how Gyarados stands out from a lot of the other water Pokemon in Generation 1. Misty attempts to calm it down with a performance as she says they did this routine together back when Gyarados was just a Magikarp, and all her other Pokemon are here as well. Things don't go as planned and Gyarados creates a whirlpool which causes Misty to black out, and while she's being rescued by Horsey, while unconscious, she has a dream of Brock and Ash believing her to be ready even though she still feels a bit unsure of herself. By the way, this is like one of the only appearances Ash makes in Pokemon Chronicles, but I think it's used really well here. During their travels, they were able to accomplish so much together, but now that they're separated, Misty is convinced that she needs them in order to conquer this obstacle in her way. She just needs to realize that it's something only she can do. When Misty wakes up, they decide the best thing to do for now would be to separate Gyarados from the other Pokemon before it causes any more harm. I guess they just had a giant cage at the ready. I mean, I had always thought it was really cool how advanced the facilities at the Cerulean Gym was compared to others, so I could see them deciding to install this once Gyarados was added to the roster. But at this point, the Bozos show up again and challenge Misty to a battle, bringing an audience with them. They plan to defeat and humiliate her, calling her leadership into question, as if an angry Gyarados wasn't enough to deal with. The battle begins with Staryu versus Hitmonchan, which seems to drown at first, but was actually faking it to get in a sneaky attack which Nurse Joy rules as illegal and gives the first round to Misty. At least somebody has some common sense around here, but it establishes that these guys will not be playing fair at all, as Misty sends in Corsola and the brothers each use a Tentacruel, making it a 1-on-3 battle. Of course they don't care and are only there to cause trouble, turning their focus to the caged out Gyarados. Misty jumps into the water to defend it from the poison sting, and I like how she does it without a second thought. She was already protective of Staryu and Corsola, and she cared about Gyarados from the beginning even if she couldn't really connect with it, so it's all totally in character. Inspired by her, it breaks out of its cage and rescues her, returning the favor. So now this battle is honestly a really cool one as it's finished up even though it isn't all that long. I mean, Misty is still riding on Gyarados and it easily goes up against all three Tentacruel, blasting them all out of the building with a Hyper Beam. That's just really amazing. Now the two of them have come to trust each other and it's a nice way to bring all the conflicts together. While Misty wouldn't return to the main cast like Brock did, I do like that we later see Gyarados in future special episodes whenever she does return. Anyway, it turns out that Nurse Joy was actually one of the gym inspectors and Cerulean City officially passes the inspection. So like I said, a nice battle to bring everything together. I honestly like how she wasn't scary or weird like we were led to believe at the beginning of the episode, but rather she was willing to stick around and help any way she could to make sure that everything was running well, with Misty as a new gym leader. Well, I did enjoy those two episodes. They're a great way to fill in the gap between where we last left Brock and Misty, and I think making them the first episodes, or the first official episodes, was the best choice given how things ended in the Johto anime. And while Brock's story leads into him reuniting with Ash and Hoenn, a few other episodes of Pokemon Chronicles follow Misty as she's now taking her place as the gym leader. And because of that, I really like the Misty episode better because she still has some growing to do, so it's more interesting to see how that plays out. But let me know what you think about these two episodes of Pokemon Chronicles, and if you'd like to see me come back every now and then to what else the series has to offer. I highly recommend it if you haven't watched them already, and I think it would be cool if we got another series like this in the future, especially with how Ash is now out of the spotlight and everyone else is still living their lives. So leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Anyway, I should be getting back to my very own journeys. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Lockadox, Vossboss, The Keeper, Riley the Fake Dragon Lady, Adam M, Flockster J, Mobile Empire, Slimy Chris, Angel X, Panther Start, Michael Snyder, Koi13, Cemetery Hill, Pastel Blood, Cosmo Zero, Rainfrux, Cheez-It62, Alex Witch, Shiny Hunter, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclock 947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes, but anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
What is it trying to say?
Ever wonder what's happening when Ash and Pikachu aren't poking around? Let's go check it out.
Go! Unifly! Right now! Unifly? That's right.
Magoozy's got all new Pokemon and new characters.
If it's a battle you want, then it's a battle you're gonna get. Spread the word, you guys. Tell the other Pokemon.
Pokemon Chronicles, weekdays at 5:30 on Magoozy. Only on Cartoon Network.